members, my name is Robert Jackson. I'm the chair of the Education Committee, and I co-chair the New York City County Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus. And I rise tonight in order to support Patrick Sullivan's resolution, and I ask you to do the same. I think you should ask yourself, what is my role as a PEP member? Is it appropriate to vet this particular nomination by Mayor Bloomberg? Is it appropriate for us to weigh in on it? If I was a member, my answer would be absolutely yes. Because as a panel, that's what you're supposed to do. That's part of your job. And I hope that you, all of you as members, stand up and take a position. Even if you don't vote on this tonight, Patrick Sullivan's resolution says to clarify your authority under the state education law. Because it is clear. It says the commissioner, at the request of the Board of Education or Board of Cooperative Education Services. That language is absolutely clear. I say to you, it's been vetted in the papers more so than anywhere else about the qualifications of Kathy Black as far as the proposed nominee for chancellor. And let me just tell you, there's so much wrong, and there's no way that it can be right. And the candidate, based on everything that I've read or heard, is not qualified, does not meet the qualifications. And the PEP, the panel, should make this a public process. You can do this if you wish. You need to stand up, and sometimes you have to stand up and say no. Even if you don't want to stand up and say no, then stand up and resign from the board. Have a heart. If the nation's largest school system, it's not too much for a chancellor to be, 1, credential, 2, has management expertise, 3, be passionate about public education, and knowing that there are 1.1 million reasons to demand this of any chancellor. And I ask you to support your colleague, not my colleague, your colleague's resolution, because it's one about clarification of your role. Thank you very much.
The panel for educational policy and the waiver process, and as written, it says in the resolved section that the City Board of Education clarifies authority under state education law as the sole entity authorized to request a waiver from Commissioner Steiner. The legal issues involved are the panel's role in the waiver process. I know that the panel members received from panel member Sullivan a letter that he wrote to Commissioner Steiner about this, and then subsequently I provided to panel members both an opinion of the Corporation Council that we received and Commissioner Steiner's response. I'll point out in terms of legal analysis that the Corporation Council's opinion was that the mayor is authorized under law to ask for a waiver for the school's chancellor whom he appoints without the panel's approval. The panel doesn't have a role in it. Commissioner Steiner, in his letter, which again was circulated to the panel, who has to consider the waiver request, said the same thing, that in fact the mayor is authorized under law to go forward, and the panel does not approve the waiver request. So those are before the panel, and that's the legal analysis that we've received.
Any questions? Thoughts? Patrick?
Yeah, just real briefly. A number of people in the press have asked me about this resolution, saying, "Well, isn't it just about process? Because if the panel does vote, and the mayor controls the panel, you know what the outcome is going to be." But I think to answer that, I'd like to look beyond the legal issues here and just talk about why it is important to follow the process. We've had an enormous outpouring of outrage and concern over the mayor's lack of process for selecting the next chancellor. And I would look at it this way. How do we go to administrators who've worked their whole life in this school system or another school system and say to them, you won't even be considered for this position regardless of your accomplishments? How do we go to teachers and tell them that you must have a master's degree to be in the classroom when we're going to ignore the fact that a master's degree is required to be chancellor? And most of all, how do we go to a child, a student in the system, and urge them to study and work hard and pour their heart and soul into their education and build a record of accomplishments, and then say, you know, when the big jobs come up, if you don't go to the right cocktail party, you're not going to be good. So yes, it's about process, but it's about democracy. And I think the 9,000 signatures on that petition tell us that there's a lot of people in this city who see democracy dying here. And I've been here 3.5 years, and sometimes this seat feels like nothing more than a front row seat on a show called The Death of Democracy. And, you know, we're going to lose. I'm going to lose this vote, I can tell you right now. But every day, we get a little stronger. Every day, people realize what's happening. Every day, there's more of you out there coming here and expressing your concerns. And I want to thank everybody who came out tonight and who supports and is concerned about it.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. In my own comment, I would say that reasonable people can disagree. Ultimately, I think this is a matter of law, and I believe that we're ready to vote on this resolution. Raise your hand if you vote to approve Panel Member Sullivan's resolution.
Look at that. That's not democracy.
All opposed.
The resolution is not adopted.
We knew it.
Order. Okay. Order, please. The next item
We knew it.
the approval of proposals for significant changes in school utilization. Secretary Vest, please present the resolutions.
There are 5 resolutions on the agenda.
126. There was a bit of confusion regarding that school. It's been classified as underutilized, and this is not true. Also, we have District 30 to verify. We believe that that information in the blue brochure was not accurate. So, I don't have that brochure with me, but the reason of our concern is that faulty information.
I want Brian Jones for mayor. I want us to look for candidates. What we passed on the second referendum means more mayoral control. We have to get out from under that. It means finding candidates. Progressive Democrats, Greens, and the Freedom Party. We have to get it together, folks. We have to take back the government, not only the board.